What's up? And this is the one a lot of people have been asking for. And this is the true beef. How it got started between Camron and Jay-Z, or Jay-Z and Camron. And basically, this is all it was. They both knew each other from street life. I don't want to bring up a lot of the street stuff because, a lot of people wouldn't want their names out there. And let's just say they was both hustlers. But Freaky Zeke Giles, was the earthquaker, Cam's cousin. And because of Zeke's reputation, Cam got a lot of street credit and a lot of pull based off Zeke. Now, Dame is cool with Zeke. Dame Dash is like him and Zeke. They was hustlers. Cam was the little dude under them who they was looking after. Dame was kind of looking after him. So when he was getting his deal together and trying to come up in the rap game and recording his album, Jay-Z was working on, I believe, Volume 1 at the time. And they had the same session, like in the studios. And he was listening to Cam record a track, and he was like, "Man, I didn't know you was tight like that. You kind of tight." And Cam was like, "Man, why don't you jump on one of my joints?" And he was like, "I didn't come up here to, get on somebody's album, he just kind of dissed him like a fan, like you beneath me. I just said, I didn't know you had some skill and stuff like that. So he's just like, I just wanted to let you know that, like you got some skill and this and that. I mean, he really didn't mess with Cam because he basically, not that he thought Cam was garbage, he just felt like they're like just starting off, like they kids. So it was no real like disrespect for him. And then Cam album did what it did, and then he ran into situations with Un, and then Jay and Un got into a beef over Blue Cottrell, and Jay-Z allegedly stabbed Big Un. Well, he admitted to doing it in court. But Un signed Cam, and he had everybody else, and Dame used to be cool with Un a little bit. But Cam and Un situation is starting to sour because, Sony gave all this money to Un and like $60 million to open up entertainment. And he can't get shit off the ground. All these projects is sitting out there, and Un don't have the connections to really get this stuff going. And projects are sitting around. And Camron's Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment album was probably the highest budgeted album to do nothing. And it was great production. It's a great album. So after that, no one really, like, Camron's style of rap wasn't really popping in. So that kind of died out. So all of a sudden, Jay-Z is now the man. Like he's the Jigga or whatever. Dame Dash saw an opportunity to bring Cam over to Rockefeller. Because he was like, well, okay, well, I'm gonna save your career. He worked out a way to get Cam off his label and get him on with Def Jam and Rockefeller. So he was like, man, y'all can keep y'all brand, y'all still be diplomats, but I can get y'all over here to Def Jam. So they were supposed to sign the Rockefeller Def Jam, and I think they end up going exclusively with Def Jam. Because that contract was kind of tricky. So it's really hard to say that they signed with Rock or that they signed with Def Jam, because Jay-Z kind of intervened a little bit and was kind of like, what are we doing here? You know, and all of this stuff was going on like crazy style. And he's like, man, we going to bring Cam on the roster. And Jay was like, all right, it's cool. Then Cam come on the roster, and he like, the diplomats, they like, man, you know, we look forward to working with y'all. You know, what's going on, Jay? And Jay just kind of like giving them the cold shoulder while they there. You know, because he know that they're tight with Dame. Dame and Jay ain't seeing really eye to eye at this point. You know, they got a little friction between the two. And mostly, Jay created most of it. And Dame was sensing that, and Dame wanted to kind of make sure he got some type of control. And that people knew that Dame was in control, because the way they was trying to position and use Jay was like they was going to bring Jay into so much that he would end up crossing out his former partners, and they was trying to find ways to get the company Rockefeller into Jay-Z's hands and cut everybody else out. And they were willing to front the money just to make it happen. So it's a lot of tension going on. Jay-Z's relationship with Leon Cohen and Dame Dash's relationship with Camron. So now it's a two-way circus. It's a two-ring fight, tag team bout. And Cam don't even know what's going on. He being used as a pawn in a war with Jay-Z. So they down there recording their album, Old Boy, and Jay at this time was, you know, like, man, that beat was tight. Jay-Z thought the beat was for him, really. And then they had it like, nah, they had it for Camron. And he had already had the vocals on there. So Jay wanted to jump on the track. And then he had a couple of little shots at Nas he was throwing in there. And Camron thought the verse and the rhyme was whack. And he had the rhyme taken off the album of Old Boy. And Old Boy became a smash hit for Cam. Old Boy was huge. And Jay knew it because he wanted that beat for himself. And he didn't get it. So he was a little salty about that. That he got beat out like that. And then, you know, he could have been, his verse was told that it wasn't good enough by Camron to be on the song. That he had to change the verse. So naturally, Jay, somebody like Jay, is just going to walk away. Because that's retarded for somebody to tell him his verse ain't good enough. So they took his verse off Old Boy. He didn't record another one. And then he's like, man, Jay, Just Blaze just sent me this track. And it was the instrumental for No. Welcome to New York City. So Jay put the headphones on, had the instrumental, and he's writing the song out in his head. And then he go in the booth, do his thing. Then boom, there it is, Cam doing it. They both shooting back and forth in the booth real fast. But Jay had to come out and do some on Camron's album because the first single, Old Boy, was a smash. It was everywhere, getting all these spins. So Jay knew, like, man, I gotta co-sign this or it's gonna look crazy. If I don't support or get behind Cam, and he gonna have a monster album, or at least an album that's gonna go, I want to embrace it so everybody can know it's Rockefeller, and then Jay-Z be standing on top, and Cam will be under. So, what he's sitting around waiting for, and then he was like, man, the song is banging. Cam is putting money into the song, and like, man, we finna really blow this up. We got some DJs over here playing it. Every DJ in New York was playing that song. Welcome to my city. Then all of a sudden, you know, it blew. Everybody got the idea, blow the song up, blow the whole screen up. I mean, not screen, but scene. So, you know, Cam go to Jay, like, Jay, man, we ready to start shooting a video, man. The song is smashing with the spins. And Jay-Z just like, kind of like, bobbing his head. Like, that ain't his move. Like, I'm not gonna be in a video. Like, I jumped on the track, but to actually be in that video, it's gonna be a Camron featuring Jay-Z. You know, and he wasn't gonna have that. So basically, Jay just killed the whole idea, everything for the video. Now, if you look back on everything, that's one of the top, like, most played song that didn't get a video. It made no sense for that song not to get a video. Then to top everything off, like, you know, Cam was like, man, that's it, I'm through, like, kissing up to Jay-Z. You know, like, this dude is like not who he think he is. You know, Camron is basically letting Jay play boss. Like, he knows Jay's position, but he ain't coming in there to cause waves. He came in there to show unity. And basically, they did the Rock the Mic tour, and they didn't invite the Dipset on the tour. And that was the final straw. And that's when Cam was like, you know what? F them, Rockefeller. They ain't doing nothing for us. So they was actually in B booing at all the concerts they was going at. Like, we showed up anyway. They bought their own tickets to come in there. So the friction was live from that point on. And basically, when the Nas came out and dissed Jay-Z with Ether, you know, everything was still hot back then. So Cam supported him and everything. You know, he had jumped on a track dissing Nas and everything else because the old boy track that he had, the verse Jay-Z had, Cam thought it was whack, and then it was some shots in there he was throwing at Nas. And he was like, you know, just have him take that whole verse off. Like, no. Take it off. So, it was cool. You know, he did what he did. He got up out of there. So, when Blueprint was coming out before, they already had a little situation, but Cam knew it was business. Kanye sold H to the Izzo to Jay-Z after he had promised he was going to sell it to Cam. You know, he had made the beat for them. Then he went over there and sold it to Jay. So, all of this stuff is in the background. This stuff that happened in the past. Cam not holding a grudge about it. But Jay is you know, he's methodical like that. Jay has always been that way. He'll be holding on to something that happened, like, hey B, you ain't hand me a napkin one time when I sneezed and it was right in front of you. That's Jay. You know, so at this point, Dipset is not dealing with them no more. Everybody on outs, but he's not dissing Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Out of respect for Dame, he's not going to cross that line and diss Jay and just jump out there. So Dame and Jay is really going in the beef because they was going to offer vice president of the company to Camron because Camron album was smashing. Jay-Z, they got their money from Def Jam, what they really wanted, the re-up money. So they all became very, very rich. And Jay took a vacation, went out the country, and Dame is like, look, man, we got to start preparing for the future of this company. And he's like, man, Camron, look, I'm going to offer you vice presidency of Rockefeller Records. And Cam wanted more. They offered him $500,000 a year salary, apart from his rap money. And he was like, nah, I don't want to do that because I should at least be getting $750. So the whole negotiations, like, it didn't work out. But it was a good thing it didn't because had Jay came back and saw that, it would have created a big explosion right then and there, more than what it did when Jay came back. Jay came back and had to embrace it. Like, you know, in time, I got to sit down and talk with people, because in time, you know, Cam may be, you know, the vice president, but we can't be making moves like that right now. Next thing you know, Jay-Z fires like 7, 8, maybe 9, 10 people that work for Dame. He fired them from Rockefeller. Just straight fired them. So Jay holds all this personally. And this is all because Jay wouldn't do what Dame wanted him to do. He didn't get behind state property. He didn't, like he promised, he didn't get involved in all of the shoe deals that Dame had, all these little projects he had. And Leor behind the scenes was still working, trying to get Rockefeller away from Dame Dash. Now Cam is in the middle of it. And so when Jay get Rockefeller, he get Dame to buy out Rockefeller and all this, because Dame did a lot of shady things that came back to light to burn him in the end. So he couldn't even fight it. He had to settle because he needed the money. So when he got the money, all he did was, when he got the loot, all he did was sign all the paperwork they gave to him. Now he was in a position of non-bargaining. He could not bargain. So Jay-Z got Rockaware. Jay-Z got the company. Biggs and Dame was out. But they had Jay-Z's old catalogs. They had his whole catalog from Reasonable Doubt on. So anything new Jay create, it would be his. Now, once that would happen, and the split happened, Cam had a green light to diss Jay-Z. And he wanted to diss Jay for the longest. So when this happened and they took Rockaware from Dame and all this from Dame, Camron was like, look, I'm letting it go because I got to let the world know who this dude really is. Like, I got to do this because it's overdue. I was supposed to have been put him in his place. So once Cam dropped that song and exposed Jay-Z, and then dropped Swagger Jacker, which was already a track somebody had already made it. One of these little mixtape DJs had made. Cam just made it and put the lyrics to it and played it back. Once he did that, whole different spectrum altogether. It was an entirely different spectrum. Because now everybody was looking at Jay-Z as a biter. And what hurt Jay was when he saw Wet Wipe video and see Dame in the video. And even though Cam didn't really say nothing slick to Jay-Z that hadn't already been said by Nas, he had Jimmy Walker in the video. That was like a slap in the face to Jay. And to see Dame in the video, even though he wasn't saying nothing and he just was in the video with Cam and made a little cameo and sat down, it looked like, okay, I'm rolling with this. So Jay been throwing little shots at Dame Dash through all his songs, even talking about how his wifey left him and that new album he had. And he talked about it just like Lost One. Okay, you guys made Hov, so say you made Hov. But if that's so, then okay, make another Hov, you know? Like, y'all made me to make somebody else. The whole line, that whole album was just diss shots at Dame Dash. But he never publicly came out and was like, I'm finna give Cam what he want, because he realized Cam just doing this to get some publicity. So that's basically what it is. But Jay, to this day, has not forgiven Camron, even though Cam don't even think about Jay like that. You know, I heard the one song where he said he made Cam a millionaire. Because he think him appearing on Welcome to New York City made Camron, but it didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way at all. Camron already had $1 million deal. But Jay can't battle Camron because Camron know a lot about his past, like who he really is outside of all this rap stuff. So all the things that he did with Dame, all the moves they made, like Cam could really have went in and embarrassed him. That's why Jay-Z never came back and responded to Camron. Just to let everybody know. I'm out.